All right. So now we're on to Curse of the Fly. That's actually appropriate for this because this movie was boring. Completely boring. And the most fascinating thing about this film is when you add up all the years of the characters and the ages they're supposed to be, or the character, one character, and the age she's supposed to be, and what year this movie actually takes place in, but we'll get to that. I'm saving that for the end, so I have something exciting to say at the end, because this movie is boring. I said that already. But the movie starts, her name is Patricia, or Pat, as she keeps getting called throughout the film. She escapes from a mental asylum, and she runs into Martin Delambre, or Delambre, whatever, who is the grandson of Andre Delambre. Alright? And so he meets Patricia or Pat, and they fall in love right away and get married right away. And he goes home and he uses the transporter to bring his father from London to Quebec, Canada, where they're from. His father, Henri or Henry Delambre. Yeah, so Andre Delambre only had one child, and his name was Philippe. But now, according to this film, his name is Henri. There's a lot of continuity problems in this film, and I'll put them out right here. His name is Henri Delambre, or Henry, whatever you pronounce it. The way it's spelled with an I, it should be pronounced Henri. I'm just saying. And he is the son of Andre Delambre. And they pronounce it Delambre in this too. Also, apparently, according to this film and the research I've done, apparently in the continuity of this film, Andre did not die. He survived because his son, who, according to my research, according to the actor who played him in that movie, was 10 years old, found the fly and him and put it back together. That's how the second one ended, though. And they show a picture of supposedly Andre mutated as the fly monster, but it's a production still from the second movie, which is Philippe as the fly. And somehow Martin has fly genes in his genes, and now he ages. He rapidly ages and has to take some kind of medicine. They're implying that the second movie didn't take place because they restored Andre. How does he have fly genes? Because he wouldn't. It doesn't make any sense. Also, they're experimenting on people, trying to transport them, and they created mutants, apparently. By the way, there's no fly monster in this movie at all. I'm just putting out plot points. There's also a subplot where these people from the mental asylum are trying to get it back, and then once they find out she's married, they're like, oh, it's okay. They also bring back Inspector Charas, which makes no sense. He should be dead. Because according to what age Henri is in this, he's an old man. The actor who played him was 64 years old. So, and Inspector Charas was an old man in the first film. So it wouldn't make any sense. But they brought him back for a cameo that doesn't mean anything. In this film, it's boring. There's a lot of scenes of talking and arguing. And what are we going to do? What are you going to do? You can't marry. And we find out Martin had a wife named Judith, and he performed the experiment on her, and he keeps her locked up in the basement apparently, and there's two other assistants, and then they have two Chinese assistants, a man and a woman. Their names are Tai and Wan. Yes, that does make Taiwan. And then the woman's not even Chinese, she's an American like yellow face. They put a wig on her and made her look Asian. I don't. This movie is stupid. This movie is boring. It didn't frustrate me. I just sat there going. Dozed off. To be honest, I don't even know how it ended. I don't care. I started watching something else on my phone. I couldn't say into this. I don't care. This movie is boring and I never want to watch it again. But, oh, another thing I should mention is that they're going to put Patricia in the transporter and they put the goggles on her in the transporter. But before, in the other two movies, when they go in the transporter, they don't need goggles or anything to cover their eyes in the transporter. Because wouldn't putting that in there with her transfuse her together? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think she gets sent anyway, but... And the movie just kind of ends. I'm just not... I don't care, though. Like I said, the most fascinating thing about this film is what year it actually takes place in. So, The Fly, I'm assuming takes place in the year it came out, right? 1958. When that movie was made, the young actor who played Philippe was 10 years old. So I'm surmising Philippe/Henri's age in these movies. So, in the second film, Return of the Fly, the actor who played Philippe was 26 years old. I thought he was older than that, but I guess he just looked older in the 50s. But he was 26 years old. That's a 16-year difference between the events of the films. So, yeah, 16 years. And if the first one took place in 1958, calculating it together, that means that Return of the Fly takes place in 1984. Because that was sure a very 80s movie. But that's not the surprising part. That's not the fantastic part, I think. The actor who played Henri Delambre in Curse was 64 years old, as I mentioned. That's a 37-year difference between the second and third films. Meaning that Curse of the Fly takes place right now. That's right, Curse of the Fly takes place in 2021. Wow. Look at all the technology in that movie. Come a long way since 1958, 1984. Wow, they really did not think about this. They did. I think they did again in the Frankenstein franchise too, in the Universal Frankenstein movies, where they had the grandson and the son, and it jumped different years, even though it didn't make any sense. I think they did that too. So, yeah, the filmmakers weren't thinking about continuity back then. You know, is this film would actually going by the age of Philippe/Henri, it would take place in 2021. Just saying. But yeah, that's the most fascinating part about this movie. Other than that, it was boring. I never want to watch it again. It does not interest me. So, when it comes to Curse of the Fly, it is simply not worth your time. So, what are your thoughts on Curse of the Fly? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're getting to a good one now because it's time for the remake. So I can go back to color, and I know it's a better movie. It's a way better movie than this. I just want something better than this. This was boring, sucked, stupid, continuity problems. I'll move away from it. There's a fly head on the cover. There's no fly in the movie. It just doesn't make any sense. It felt like a script from another movie that they changed to incorporate characters. They gave the characters in the film, you know, Henri and Martin, they gave the last name of Delambre and wrote in stuff that connected to the Fly franchise, but didn't think about the continuity problems with that. and they use the teleporter stuff. Because the only thing that really carries over, other than the Delambre name, is the telepod things, which are now laying flat instead of standing up. But yes, not worth your time. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.